TV, and so it was a stroke of luck really that I found a week or two that he was available, that he was able to get it done, and he had been wanting to work with me too, so that worked out great.
So that's really good, and I think it's important to have that objective second set of ears to just do, kind of be your gut check on a project like this. No
doubt about it. I completely agree with that, and same with working with Jorg and my sound engineer as I'm recording. There are times when you're not completely sure, or in my case, I quite often have more than one idea about something. Like the song We Hear Your Cry, it started as a completely different lyric, completely different melody, and we were in the studio getting ready to record it, and then just this other melody just popped into my head last minute, and I said, what do you think about this? And I started doing it, and he said, I like it. He said, kind of work that out a little bit more. And then we ended up changing and went with that, and I'm so glad that we did. But there are times where he would have said, no, I'm not feeling it. Stick with what you got, And if I'm really, have a lot of conviction about one idea, and it's rare, but once in a while he'll say, I think I would do it this way, and I'm saying, no, I really, really think this is the way to do it, and I'll stick to my guns. But there are many other times where I'm really kind of on the fence, and he's really good at tipping me one way or the other, and he's usually right.
Well, it's great that you have someone that you can, count on their advice and be able to take it and go ahead and go along with what he's saying, because you know that it's going to work better.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just better to have a team. Now, in terms of the songwriting, I always do that on my own. I've done a little bit of collaborating, did some collaborating with Eric, the bass player. We've been kind of working on some other songs on the side, which is something that I'm going to start doing some more of. It's just that the creative process for me is so personal that and it's just something that I do when I'm alone, or while I'm out and about. It's ideas are always popping in my head. But collaborating is fun too, because you come up with some things that you never would have on your own.
Right, and thank God for all the iPhones and Androids out there, so that way when you are out somewhere, you can record it right that second, or, talk about the lyrics that pop into your head.
Exactly, yeah. It's lyrics or just song ideas. I'll just hum out or tap out some ideas right into the microphone on my phone, and it would probably be gibberish to you guys, but I know what I was getting at, and I can go back and work that out on the keyboard or the guitar or what have you, and sometimes you can't really get the original vibe that you were going for, but in most cases I can, and you're right, it's very convenient. I used to have to kind of rush home. You always have always used to have like a little cassette recording device or a little digital player, but I didn't always have it with me. And so the phone has been, the smartphone has definitely been a godsend in that regard.
Yeah, and they have so many of those things in the car these days that you can record or talk from or call your house, or, that helps too, I'm sure.
It does.
Well, I'd like to go ahead and play another song from your new album, and that is Tower for our listeners.
Oh, my sister.
It's one of my favorites.
It's my sister's favorite, too.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Her and I have similar tastes then. All right,
yes.
So here is
You'll
Tower.
have to go see a concert together.
Yeah. That works for me. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play it. That's such a beautiful song. I absolutely love everything about it. And when I first listened to it, I didn't think there was going to be lyrics because it has such a long music introduction. How did you decide to do this song that way?
Well, thank you for saying it was beautiful. It's part two. There's Tower Part 1 and Tower Part 2. So it's the second part of an basically an anthem. I hate to say anthem because it sounds such a dated term, but that's really kind of what it is. So Part 1 was really about 9/11. I'd written it quite a while ago, and I'd never recorded it, but the song idea had changed quite a bit. But I kept the lyric because I liked it so much. And then Part 2 was really just, it was a musical idea that I had that I thought was a great extension of Part 1. And then as it was going, I thought, a lot of times when we have that dilemma as songwriters, it's like, okay, that's a great intro or a great verse, but now we got to come up with a chorus and a bridge and such. And I said, I just really like how this progression builds. Just keep it start low and then build, and then as I'm building it, layer parts and the horn parts, the melodies came to me. And I'd start with one melody, and then the harmony above that with the French horns, and then the trombone, and then the strings on top of that. So it just all sort of started to build as I was. It was really, it was like building a song. It was just, that was part of the creative process, and it just evolved into this thing. And I thought, the lyric from Tower was so poignant but really intense, and I wanted to finish the thought with something more uplifting, in that we don't have a whole lot of time in this world as we can see, and so let's give what we can and let's take advantage of what we can, because
that's true.
Yeah. So that's where the lyric came in at the end, and I just felt like it's just a very powerful, uplifting feeling that lyric was appropriate in that spot at the end.
It is. It smolders for a while, and then it just lifts you up at the end. And that vocal, that's probably why I thought that I heard a little bit of Lenny Kravitz in your music. The vocal reminds me of him there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
And to me, the music, that's where I heard your inspiration with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh, yeah. That's they were my first love, actually, as a kid, was Earth, Wind, and Fire. I got really bought everything that they ever did. I actually recently saw Verdine White, the bass player of Earth, Wind, and Fire, at in LAX airport. And I don't know if you know who he is or if you've ever seen the band, but he's the guy who, he's late 50s, man. He's got to be in his 60s now, and he's got the long black hair, and he has got energy of an 18-year-old. He's unbelievable. I mean, and they have hired.
He needs to share that.
Yes.
Oh, he's just his energy is unreal. And, the other band members talk about it. Like, they said, we probably wouldn't tour anymore if it weren't for him. He just energizes the band. But I saw him standing in the airport talking to somebody. And, in Los Angeles, you see celebrities all the time. I see them in New York all the time. This is where they live, so I leave them alone. I don't ever approach them. But in this case, it's like, oh, I've got to go talk to him.
Yeah.
So I just went up to him and I introduced myself. I said I was a big fan my whole life, shook his hand, and I really don't remember a word I said. I just shook his hand and looked at him and spewed out a bunch of stuff about inspiration and this, and what he and the band have done for me over the years. And he just looked back and he just thanked me, and he said, "Well, thank you very much. It's really, really kind of you." He's just very gracious, and that was it. And I walked away. So, yeah. Anyway, you brought that up, so I thought I'd mention that. But
no, that's a good story, because I can picture myself doing the same thing of some of the people that I met that I have, been a fan of for a long time. And after I'm done having a conversation, whether it be for, 2 seconds or for 5 minutes, I thought,